Hello, all. Dr. Alejandro here, and today I want to talk about a couple tips and tricks for getting the materials you need, especially for the Dragon's Grove biome. I mainly play as a solo, and the grind can be super rough. It wasn't in the Cradle of Keepers or the Broken Valley, but once you got to the Dragon's Grove, playing solo became really, really hard just because you need so many resources to do anything. And there are a lot of things I didn't realize when I was playing that was pointed out by people watching me. Quick shout out to Asfi and Evil and Dead as community members who have shown me things I didn't think about in the game. But there are also things that I figured out myself that really helped me out to play and advance as a solo that I learned a bunch of my community members weren't really doing in the game. So here are 5 simple things, tips and tricks that you can do to advance faster in the game and take advantage of the different mechanics that are available in Frozen Flame. First tip, I'm going to be discussing how to easily get magic seeds and flint because something I didn't realize going into the Dragon's Grove was exactly how many hundreds of seeds, flint, solid essence, crystal essence, all these different things you are going to need. And originally, I used to go with the old route of running around the map and hunting and killing all the little jellyfish things because they have a common drop for magic seeds. But every rotation around the Cradle of Keepers, I was getting on average 10 to 11 magic seeds, which wasn't enough. But there are things you can do to easily get your farming up to another level and get yourself as many solid essences and other materials you need. And the trick for that is actually dealing with a little bit of food. So, you can take a single piece of meat and cook it into a roasted meat, or a single insect and cook it into a roasted insect. And then we get to go and make use of this with a very interesting NPC that a lot of people I think have forgotten. Now, if you're like me, you had stacks and stacks of meat in your chest from killing boars early on or killing some of the boars to try and get the boar hide you needed for equipment. And now you can make use of those. So, with us having 6 roasted insect meats and 6 roasted meats, we can take a little trip over to this portal in the Cradle Keepers near the frozen area. And there's a nice NPC here that I think a lot of people forgot about after you went through the Cradle of Keepers. But this coup has a shop, and that shop is how we get our seeds. Let's open this right up. Oh, 1 roasted meat for 5 magic seeds. That's an amazing deal because you are guaranteed to get meat when you kill the boars. So you kill a boar, it's worth 5 magic seeds. That is a huge amount that can keep you going. Now, a little thing here though is when you go to the shop and you click and buy, it deselects. But if you want to very, very quickly get the resource, you just alternate between E and left click, and you can buy everything really, really fast. And just like that, 6 meat got turned into 30 magic seeds, 6 insects got turned into 30 flint. This isn't necessarily the most efficient way to get flint. Busting open stones definitely is, because you're also going to need the stones for some things. So breaking rocks for stones is a super good way to do it. But there's lots of times you have to be going around the map, just wandering around, and then you can pick up random insects everywhere. And I just have to miss both of those, so that was perfect of me. But yeah, you can walk through and oh, I just got another insect. I could turn that into 5 flint if I want to. I'm not going to right now, but you can use those extra insects you pick up while you're out and about to turn into extra flint, and all of that comes together into all of this beautiful, beautiful solid essence. Because again, you need hundreds and hundreds of it for the things you're trying to do. So now let's move ourselves over to our next tip. So for our second tip, we're going to be discussing how to easily farm nature crystals. One thing people might notice when they get out here into the Dragon's Grove is there are a bunch of these things that are requiring nature essence. And when you look at the garden beds to do it, it requires 3 nature crystals, and you try to figure out how to get them. And the one place you end up finding that might work for it is over here with the giant castle, where there's the person there who will trade 100 sky stones for one single nature crystal. And that's just not really a worthwhile trade, because to make one of the benches, you need 3 nature essence, which means 9 nature crystals or 900 sky crystals. And that is a ton of farming you might have to do to get that. So instead, there's another method we can use to get those nature crystals really easily. So if you come down to the southern side of the Dragon's Grove, there's this island with the library. You can get a quest from, I believe, the blacksmith that sends you down here to the library anyway. But there's a little trick you can use here to get as many nature crystals as you want. And this is a godsend for solos, because getting nature crystals otherwise is absolutely terrible. But if you're playing solo, this is an amazing way. I mean, you can do it in a group as well, but this is so good for solos. Oh, there's a spawner down there. Run down, spawn the Bone Crusher, and sometimes it doesn't really work out the way you want it to. There we go. Spawn Bone Crusher, get on top of the bookcase, and start pinging him with arrows. This is not as fast as if you were just mailing down the boss, but it works really well. You just hang it up here. Yes, get those crits every once in a while, and you're going to see something amazing happen after this. I really hope that the devs don't fix this, because right now, as a solo player, I would hate trying to get nature crystals any other way. Oh, I killed the boss. What happens? Oh, let me grab that. Oh, he respawned? Okay. So the way this works is, because you're not in the ground level when you kill him, the game doesn't think you actually killed the boss, which means you can jump down, grab the free nature crystal. Well, free, you killed the boss. And when you touch the ground to grab it, a new one will spawn. And you can do this over and over and over until you get as many nature crystals as you want. This is the best nature crystal farming method that we've seen. And again, I really hope the devs don't patch this out, because I would not have been able to get all my nature crystals solo. It would just take so long that wouldn't have been worth it. But yeah, this is a super simple method. And now let's move on to our next tip. My third tip for this video is all about making use of teleporters. So people know about teleporters. You can see ones that are around, just put on the map, that are just naturally there, and you can use them to teleport around. Fast travel. It's awesome. And most folks know you can make your own portals, but for some reason, when I spoke to a bunch of community members, none of them were making their own. But it's super useful to do, even though it takes a little bit of resources for it. It's not too bad. 8 stone, 6 crystal essence, and 4 astral essence. The only reason I don't have more teleporters around is I've been using all my crystal essence that I've been making to make mithril. So I haven't been able to use them as much for as many teleporters as I want. But you can place them basically anywhere. All you have to do is build a foundation, and all of a sudden you can have something like the Dragon's Grove that has 2 natural portals that I've placed 3 down already into 3 pretty useful spots. This spot for the castle with 2 mithril nodes, the library for farming the nature crystals, and also over here, because there's a fountain here, and that's super nice. We'll take a trip over there to show you how useful this can be for things. Well, now I have a portal that brings me right to a fountain, so I can fill up my water skins without having to fight any enemies or anything like that. Just come over here. The most important thing to note is you do have to put the teleporters on a foundation, but enemies aren't really going to attack them. So when I go to build a teleporter, I just bring along 8 wooden planks, and all of a sudden, I just toss it down somewhere, put a portal on top of it, and the enemies don't touch them. They leave them alone. The HP that's at right now is just natural degradation at 30% of his HP. You won't have any issues dealing with enemies, and all of a sudden, you can have easy access to everywhere. I still plan on putting at least 3 more portals in this world, which is here, and Hornhead's Island. The reason for those is I want to have portals everywhere that there's a mithril node to make doing the mithril routes and the mithril farming a lot easier. But for some reason, so many folks I know just haven't been putting down many portals. But it is so useful to have a lot out just to cut down your travel time. If you know you got to go somewhere, you can just go there. And all it takes is, again, a simple foundation and a portal thrown on top, and you open up the map so much easier for yourself. Time for tip number 4, relooting these rune chests. Now, these rune chests are chests you've seen in other biomes. There are some in the first biome, some in the second biome, where you go to them, you click them, and it puts runes up on the walls or on trees or rocks, anywhere. You have to go around and click them, and after all that, you get to open the chest and get a reward. Well, some people don't know that these things actually respawn. You don't have to redo the rune chest actual puzzle for it, but they will slowly respawn over time to give you resources, which every single time you open one, you get 3 of these large flame essences, which can be one way for someone to gain a lot of XP if you want to, because every large flame essence you use gives you 100 XP. So every time you open one of these chests, you can get 300 XP from it. However, I'm now trying to save some of them because these regular flame essences started being used in the decorative items. And I have a feeling, because the large flame essences say the same thing, that in future releases, there's going to be decorative items that are going to be requiring these large flame essences. So while I want to use them to gain some XP, I'm kind of want to use them for that as well and hold on to them. But this is a really good way for someone to go around, especially if some of these chests are anywhere near some of your normal routes. This makes life so nice and easy to get around and actually pick these large flame essences up, because as long as you're going somewhere, you can easily just get some more of them. So feel free to make use of that one. This is something that, while not a big thing, it's a useful little tidbit to have access to. And for my last tip of this video, something that I didn't realize you could do, because I believe in one of the playtests, an early playtest, you couldn't do it, but you can actually equip multiple of the same rings. So I thought you can only equip a single accessory once, but you can actually stack them. So if you get multiple fire rings or multiple antidote rings, you can stack up extra resistance, which will help you in certain scenarios. Like, I'm using 2 fire rings right now, and the reason for that is I want to take less damage from those shaman enemies that do the fire breath, because that fire breath hurts, and I absolutely hate it. So I like to have those. Or if I'm going somewhere that's a poison area, I could wear 2 antidote rings and have a food with poison resist on it. Combine that with my bone mass that gives extra poison resist, and all of a sudden, the poison in the area is not actually doing that much dot damage to me. Now, this is something that people may know, but I didn't realize it. And until you get to Dragon's Grove, it can be hard to do, because these Book of Chronoses you need to get the rings, you don't really get them much. Except when you get to the Dragon's Grove, where all of a sudden you can get a lot of Book of Chronoses there. So with that, you can actually buy multiple copies of the rings to stack up the type of resistance you need against a specific boss that might use that. So I felt like I wanted to give that out. This is a quick little last tip for folks. And yeah, it's a pretty simple thing you can do, but it really does help and makes a difference. So thank you all for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed some of these tips. Hopefully at least one of them was one you might not have known before, but I didn't always realize some of these things, but I figured a couple out myself, and then had a couple people out in my chat who told me about a few of them. Like the nature crystal farming. I didn't realize that was an exploit you could use. You can use that at all the mini bosses, but the library is the easiest one because there's a lot less ads around that'll give you trouble when you're trying to do that with the boss. So the library is the best place to do the nature crystal farming, and someone from my chat is one who told me that. The coup for buying the magic seeds is something I realized. I just had to go back. I remembered the coup selling stuff, so I wanted to check it, and I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing for us." So I hope you all enjoyed the video. I do all of my Frozen Flame live on Twitch. You can catch me there. I will be playing the Saturday after the next update comes out, so I can take out the Dragon's Grove boss. But until then, I'm doing a few other things, but hopefully you might want to come and check it out. But thank you all for watching, and hopefully I see you in the next one.